Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piwowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most. Here on the Rundown, 2A views, conservative news. Craig, it's Throat Punch Thursday.
It is Throat Punch Thursday. This is the day in which we will go after Pooya, the left, and, kind of hit him in the face. Or not the face, I'm sorry, the throat, to be specific.
In the throat. In the throat. See, because when you hit them in the face, they cover their face and you can't see their reaction. But when you hit them in the throat, they're like, oh. Yeah, so.
And they always look kind of shocked when you do that. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, you knew this was coming. We told you if you kept talking smack, this was going to happen.
Exactly. You think they would not be surprised, but yet oftentimes they are.
That's it. That's it. You forgot you weren't on the internet. You forgot you were standing in front of me, didn't you?
That's usually the way it works. As I have often said, is that the problem with the internet is it's gotten used to people being completely and utterly disrespectful without getting punched in the face.
Exactly right. And we're here to change that attitude. Yep.
Yes, we are, with our virtual throat punch.
That's it. That's
right.
it.
But before we get into it today, we got to start off with a shout out to our sponsors.
That's right. Let's say hi to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. You got yourself an AR in the past 5 years. You probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Now you can buy from them direct for your next AR build or re-barrel your current AR platform. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. Make sure you watch out for the California 6th congressional race. If you want the best in concealment holsters on the market, tactical holsters, get on over to hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all one word, all caps, no spaces. Get a nice little discount. And if you're going outdoors, going to get your tactical on, and you need some tactical gear, whether you're hunting, fishing, camping, hiking, whatever it is, you can get everything but the gun at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Our sponsors generously help bring us to you so that we can bring you to them, which means you help us. In fact, you help yourselves by visiting their websites. All you got to do is do this. Follow the links in the description of this program. Check them out. If you like what you see, spend some money with them. And whether you spend money with them or not, let them know that you visited and that it was the guys over at the Rundown that sent you. Also want to encourage you, however you partake of the program. Now, if you guys just watch the program and maybe you just watch us when when you got us on your phone or you're sitting in front of your computer, you can also just listen to the program. However you get your podcast, you can find us. You just look for the Rundown, 2A views, 2A news, conservative views, and you will find us. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Music. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. What's the other one I'm thinking of? iHeartRadio. You can find us on all of those. Now, there's OpsLens, and by the way, my favorite, quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, is Spotify. And the reason why I like Spotify is because you can both watch us if you want to watch, and you can also listen if you want to. So either way, you kind of get the best of both worlds. Now, I'll be honest with you, if you want to watch us live, YouTube, Facebook, OpsLens, Rumble, that's the only place where you're going to find us there live. So in any case, if you are watching live, please make sure participate in the live chat and have a conversation. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. You can also watch us on Twitter. X, I'm sorry, formerly known as Twitter.
Yep.
On X.
The social. Yep.
Isn't that like the Wakanda thing?
Formerly known as Twitter. The what? It's Wakanda forever, Craig. Come on.
There you go. Wakanda forever, right? X is there Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and get into today's news. Yesterday, our good friend Merrick Garland was on the hot seat. It was a very interesting, how shall we say, It was a very interesting presentation because he spent most of his time basically being kind of defiant and really kind of denying the truth. And here was a video that I wanted to play for you guys because this is a video where he's being questioned by Kevin Kiley, who is a representative from here in California, representative from this area, and he's really being put on the hot seat. And needless to say, he is ultimately very, very defiant and, well, denying the fact of what he actually did. Check it out.
Are you aware that Director Wray, a couple months ago in sworn testimony, implicated you in a sweeping abuse of power?
I doubt he would characterize whatever he said in that way.
Well, he testified about the school board memo that you issued on October 4th of 2021, in which you mobilized federal law enforcement powers against American parents. Now, of course, you didn't put it quite like that. Instead, you found a pretext, which is stated right here in the first line of the memo. In recent months, there has been a disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school administrators, board members, teachers, and staff. What was your basis for making that claim?
I will say again, as I've testified numerous times in response to exactly the same question, that I saw numerous reports in the press of violence and threats.
You saw reports in the press, and so you decided to instigate a nationwide law enforcement initiative?
If I may be permitted to answer the question.
Please.
Numerous reports in the media of violence and threats of violence against school personnel of all kinds.
Did you consult with the FBI director?
We received a letter from the National Association of School Boards reporting.
Yes, that letter contained anecdotes. It didn't contain data of an increase. Did you, yes or no, consult with the FBI director before issuing the memo?
I don't believe I spoke with the FBI director, no.
Why not? Why wouldn't you consult with the FBI director?
Because the purpose of the memo, as is very clear from the memo, is to ask the FBI to assess the situation, to hold meetings, and to determine whether this was...
Mr. Attorney General, you started with a conclusion that there was an increase in threats. Now, if you had bothered to consult with the FBI director, here's what he would have said. This is from his sworn testimony, that he was not aware of any such evidence. So my question to you, sir...
So what he's talking about here is, Mike, he's pointing out that first of all, you have the FBI director basically saying, yeah, no, I just wanted to have meetings. Not that he was actually putting together, he actually decided that, well, we're going to go ahead and start investigating parents who are showing up at school board meetings, even though that's exactly what they did. He also ignores the fact that the letter from the National Association of the National School Boards Association was a letter that was actually requested from the DOJ. The DOJ asked them to write the letter. But that was never brought up. He forgot to mention that.
Yeah, Craig, just further evidence of the this administration's weaponization of federal law enforcement and DOJ, FBI against people that go out there and exercise their First Amendment rights. I mean, this is just party politics at its worst. And now you have the FBI director's testimony, showing what actually happened, and now you get Attorney General Garland. By the way, the Obama Supreme Court nominee Garland, denying that it happened and being defiant and such.
Right, and and that wasn't the only thing that he was denying. So, for example, he talked about how, well, I removed myself from any deliberations or any conversation or knowledge relating to Hunter Biden probe. So instead of just saying, well, I didn't have any input, he said, I knew nothing about nothing. In other words, David Weiss was all on his own, and anything that I did know about, I can't talk to you about because that was internal deliberations. Mike, it clearly, dude has absolutely, let's be honest, he's been caught with his pants down. And he doesn't want to admit that he's been caught with his pants down. And like I said, the defiant attitude that he had there. And by the way, that was just with Kevin Kiley questioning him. It was all bad for AG Garland yesterday, and he really made it sound like he either has absolutely no idea what is going on in his own Department of Justice, or he's just a flat out liar.
Yeah, it's probably both. I think the most incredible fact of this is that he says he authored this memo based on some news reports he saw. He saw some stuff on the news, Craig, and thereby went and created this policy memo.
Right. And we already know that they did open investigations. We already know that they did look into student parents. All of the stuff we now know they actually did. When he says we just wanted to have conversations, no, that's not in fact what they did. They actually right. Went into and started investigating organizations and groups. And by the way, we also know this is not the first time Democrats have done this. One only need look back to the IRS under the Obama administration going after patriot groups. If you were a conservative group who included terms like the word patriot in them, your nonprofit status, if you had it, was investigated and sometimes revoked. And if you were applying for it, it was at the very least delayed, if not denied.
Yeah, again, just this is what you can expect from this administration, which is continuation of the Obama administration and their policies to take down the right and on all of the civil liberties that you enjoy.
Right. And this is not what the Department of Justice is supposed to be doing. This is not what an administration is. When you give the administrative state, in particular law enforcement powers, they're not supposed to be utilizing that in order to police speech, even though that's exactly what Democrats want to do. Anybody who they disagree with, they want to silence. And that's exactly what's going on. That's what was going on with parents. That's what's going on. We now know, once again, FBI going to social media companies, getting them to pull down, restrict, or at the very least throttle posts and accounts by individuals who are putting out information with which they disagree. Right.
But then we have the information that we agree with, right? That they have, because the media is controlled 90%, by the liberal, party politics, and that's what he's going to base his investigation on. The media that he approves and puts out.
Right. Exactly. Like, I give you an example of one of those narratives. One of the narratives that many on the right have talked about were the fact that there were FBI assets or people who working either with or for the FBI were there on January 6th. And now there is an internal memo that has been issued, that has been put out, that has been, I don't know if it was leaked or released by the Federal Bureau of Investigations. But here you have FBI allegedly lost count of paid informants at the January 6th, at the Capitol on January 6th. It says, according to an ex official, the FBI had so many plants that were sprinkled throughout the crowd on January 6th at the Capitol that they lost count of them and had to perform an audit to assess how many there really were. A former assistant director of the Bureau told lawmakers that the FBI shockingly could not account for how many confidential human sources were present that day until they later dug into it for a tally of paid informants, including to Miranda Devine at the New York Post. Many believe that a man named Ray Epps was one of them. He was charged this week with disorderly and disruptive conduct in connection with the January 6th riots. That's basically a slap on the wrist to many. It looks simply like an overture to give him cover. And that's the real context of why I wanted to talk about this, was really the Ray Epps thing. Because keep in mind, there have been people, there was at least a couple of individuals who literally were not even there that day, and they're doing multiple years in prison. Yet Ray Epps was there the night before, was talking about going into the Capitol, was there the day of talking about and encouraging people to go into the Capitol. And all he gets is this misdemeanor what was it again? Misdemeanor disorderly and disruptive conduct.
Wait, you mean insurrection, right? I thought this was an insurrection.
Yeah, no, this is the only insurrection that I know of where no one was actually charged with insurrection.
It's the insurrection, not insurrection, right? Yeah, that's I guess we
Kind
how
of
the kids
like
call it today. Yeah,
anti-racism is really racist. An insurrection is,
exactly.
an
Is
insurrectionless
not insurrection.
insurrection. How about that?
Yeah, that's right. The insurrection, not insurrection, or the insurrectionless insurrection. There you go. Yeah, this is again, Craig. I mean, listen, how long do we have to pay attention to this sham of a January 6th investigation, and to and finally say we've had enough? I mean, at this point, everybody involved in this is just counting down the days until this administration's gone, so this could be wiped from people's records. I mean, were there bad people there that did some bad things? Absolutely, but that wasn't people that did a trespass charge and now are facing insurrection allegations for the rest of their life. This is ridiculous. This is the the banana republic. This is what this is.
Right. I got into an argument with my brother because he's like, well, political opponents aren't being locked up. Like we were talking about how, there are a number of, tyrants who have locked up their political opponents. Well, Joe Biden, in particular, the Democrats as a whole, have gone out of their way to go after folks. Because here's the thing. There was much more property damage done as a result of the summer of 2020 George Floyd riots as was done at the Capitol. Far more people died and were injured. Far more law enforcement was attacked and lost, and far more property, federal property, was damaged, courthouses and the whatnot, during those summer riots. Yet nowhere near the number of people have been prosecuted as are being prosecuted under January 6th. And definitely the people who are getting jail time are getting significantly less jail time. One cannot say that there is equal justice when you see that based on your political views, that the outcome of legal proceedings and justice is determined by one's political views.
Yeah, that's absolutely what we see, Craig. The victims here, right, of the January 6th insurrection were the innocent representatives and senators sitting up there. Again, it just shows this administration doesn't care about the people that live in inner cities, the people that are financially hardships. They don't care about them at all. That people died and there was billions of dollars of damage in your neighborhoods. We don't care. We don't care.
Well, and the other thing that we need to figure out is, since we have all of this data, all of this information, we need to know who are all those informants and what were they doing and what have they been charged with. That's all information that needs to be made available. Yeah. Once again, they lost control of their assets, and some of them probably believed, and this was something that's part of the report, that it was their job to whip up excitement in the crowd. What if they did? What if they were the ones who were instigating people to go in and protest and to go into the Capitol, to attack law enforcement? What if they were the ones instigating it? We don't know that. What I believe is, I believe the government does know that. I believe they didn't lose track of them. I believe they know exactly what they did and they're trying to hide it.
Well, Craig, they had all that information and they had, the Epstein Island list, but that was all on that F-35 that's disappeared.
There you go. Well,
yeah.
It's hidden. It's stealthy somewhere. It's somewhere hidden in the Bermuda Triangle.
Right. Yep, it's gone. Disappeared F-35. Nobody's seen it. By the way, on a separate topic, I'm looking for an F-35 ejection sheet and canopy for a special project I got going on, in case anybody knows what one is. So.
Okay. Sounds good. So if anybody out there, DM Mike.
Got a spare? Let me know. I got something I'm doing. Working on.
Good stuff. All right. Back in 2013, and 2013 was the first year I started working with the Firearms Policy Coalition. I started off originally just doing media for them, and then they introduced like 54 anti-gun bills. About 12 or 13 of them wound up becoming law. But anyway, I became a lobbyist all of a sudden for the Firearms Policy Coalition. And we dubbed that year what we called Gunpocalypse, because never before had so many anti-gun bills been put into law. Been introduced and then eventually become law. Now, we were able to kill 75% of them. Well, now with obviously a little bit of a change in the makeup of the California legislature, turning more anti-gun, and with Governor Gavin Mussolini, who will do anything he can to circumvent the civil rights of Californians. Well, this time they didn't even wait. A lot of the bills in the legislature, they just decided that they were going to do gut and amends, and they wound up passing 12 different anti-gun bills in the state of California. And this is an article that was written by the California Globe, a good friend of mine over there, Katie Grimes. Katie, if you're listening, shout out to Fetching Jen. Used to be a part of the Western Alliance of Bloggers here in the Sacramento or in the California area. But among the bills that were passed, you've got let's see here. You've got SJR 7, which is a resolution for the Constitutional Convention to restrict firearms. So that's one that could have federal implications. You have AB 28, which enacts gun and ammunition excise tax. This is an 11% tax on firearms parts, as well as ammunition. You've got AB 92, which makes it a misdemeanor for a person who is prohibited from possessing a firearm to purchase, own, or possess any body armor. So if you're not allowed to own a firearm, you can't purchase body armor. So even though you can't shoot at nobody who's shooting at you, well, you also are not allowed to defend yourself, to defend yourself or protect yourself from them shooting at you. You've got AB 301, which authorizes the court considering red flag petition to consider evidence of acquisition of body armor when determining grounds of a gun violence. So in other words, another body armor bill. And by the way, you guys may be saying, well, why does this matter to me? I don't live in California. It doesn't matter to me. Let me tell you, these bills will be coming to a state near you. As your state is being Californicated, you will have to deal with some of these things. You've got, I won't go into all of the rest of them except for SB 2, which is it basically says every place you might want to carry a firearm, it's like you can have a concealed carry permit, but every place you might want to carry, it's now going to be a sensitive place. This is very similar to New York's sensitive places bill. Folks, this is all bad. And once again, all of these things will soon be instituted. Well, it's all going to be coming to a state near you.
Right, and that's why we pay attention to them all. We see them out of the Northeast, we see them out of California, and now the Pacific Northwest. We see them coming out of there, and it's very important to watch what they do, because if they stick there, if they get a little bit of traction at all, then they're picked up elsewhere, and they make little tweaks, little improvements, and they try and slip them through for whatever reasons they weren't denied. Unless they pass, then they're just going to cut and paste to bring them over. So it's important to take part in those other grassroots organizations in other states as well. Yes, your state might be sitting good, but you've got to reach out to the New Jerseys and the Californias around the country, because they don't do these jobs of fighting this for free, folks.
Right, exactly. And I get it. Your tax dollars are already being used against you to fight against your rights. Well, guess what? You got to take some of your other money and you need to spend it to support organizations like the Firearms Policy Coalition, like California Gun Rights Foundation, like I'm thinking legislative groups.
Second Amendment.
The NRA, California Rifle and Pistol, they're the ones that are fighting legislatively, but also the ones that are fighting in courts. The Second Amendment Foundation, which, by the way, is hosting the Gun Rights Policy Conference this weekend. If you are in Phoenix, Arizona, or anywhere near there, you got to go there. Some of the best and brightest minds dealing with firearms policy are there. Now the best minds dealing with firearms policy aren't, because, well, Mike and I aren't there. Right.
We're right in this room.
We're here with you. So if you want to save some money, don't need to go to Phoenix. We're right here. But yeah, they're gathering this weekend. So they're getting there today, and the conference starts tomorrow. Well, the media conference starts tomorrow, and then they'll be doing the conference Saturday and Sunday. But if you're enjoying, and by the way, it's free, folks. It's free. So just go to the Second Amendment Foundation's website, or just put in GRPC 2023. Google it, register, drive down there, check it out.
Yeah, they're going to give you like $50 in books for free and lunch, by the way.
Yes. Exactly. So you get all these books, you get free. This, folks, this is important. If you are a gun owner in these United States, you need to know and understand your rights. You need to understand how your rights are being fought for by organizations across the country. Any good gun nut needs to learn to be a good gun policy nut as well.
There you go. Yep.
Just saying.
Get on down there, make it happen.
Go down there, make it happen. This morning I was listening, Mike, to an interview by a guy out of San Diego. He's a county supervisor there in San Diego County. Dude is, he's a Sacramento County supervisor, San Diego County supervisor. Anyway, he was basically on the radio today, a big push talking about, well, the sanctuary city policy there in San Diego County is failing. He recognizes in the state of California, you don't hear Gavin Newsom talking about it much. But he is also recognizing that it is failing our country. Right now, they have people that are pouring across the border there, once again, in San Diego County. According to the story, it says, speaking to local reporters, Desmond, whose city has seen an influx of 2,000 immigrants this week alone, said that San Diego does not have the resources to handle this crisis and said officials should stop the influx immediately. We're not the immigration department. We don't have these types of resources available, he said. The best cure would be when we're at capacity, stop letting people in for a while. We need a better system. Our immigration system has failed. It's broken. It is not the way to run an immigration system. Well, here's the thing, Mike. It's kind of like this. I can't blame my front door or the lock maker or the maker of my front door or the lock on the front door if I just leave that front door wide open. I can't be surprised when people come into my home, camp out and steal my stuff. I can't blame the maker of the front door, right?
Right. Listen to this guy's statement, Craig, when he starts off in that sentence before there where he says the immigration system has failed. They need to stop sending the immigrants to us. We can't handle them. He lays the blame on Governor Abbott, not on the Biden administration in their policies. That the immigrants are coming through, but the fault lies with Governor Abbott for sending him the immigrants.
Well, no. Here's the thing. Because he actually does say, he's like, look, he did it. And I listened to the interview I was listening to earlier today. He's blaming the federal government because he's saying, look, our job is not to do immigration. That's not our job. Right. He's saying that no. What's interesting is now Gavin Mussolini actually sent some federal agents, Highway Patrol and National Guard, to the southern border. He said to stop or reduce the influx of fentanyl, but I believe in part what they're doing is turning away illegal immigrants. At least that's what they should be doing.
This guy did say yes, immigration is the problem, but he says the problem is that they keep sending them to San Diego and they just got 2,000 more and they can't handle it. So they need to stop sending them there.
Well, they need what's interesting is you never hear them say that they are willing to rethink their sanctuary city policy.
Yeah. Well, it's failed. Are we still a sanctuary city? Sure. It's just failed. It's just, right. We're not going to give it up. We're just failing at it.
Yeah. It don't work, folks. Being a sanctuary city does not work because what you're telling people is that the law really doesn't matter, right? We don't care what the law is. What we care about is looking good and feeling good and pretending like, we care, which if you cared, well, now there's talk. If you cared, then you would first look out for the people who elected you. How about starting there? Protecting them, their homes, their jobs, their communities. Because once again, California already has the lion's share of homeless in this country. And now we're going to bring in thousands, tens of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands, in the nation millions, but of people who don't have jobs, who don't have, in many cases, don't have job skills. And we're now going to put them into an economy where we already have a number of people who are not able to manage and help take care of themselves. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
That's exactly right. Yes. Oh yeah, it makes perfect Democrat Biden Obama administration sense.
Yes, it does. You don't forget Mussolini, Gavin Mussolini.
That's
Throw
right.
him in there.
That's right. Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, folks, we've reached that part of the show where it's time for our parting thoughts, or our parting shots, brought to you by Hog Holsters. Make sure you go to hogholster.com. Use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. So Bidenomics is working, right? It's working?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bidenomics is working. Well, according to Bidenomics, let's see. Inflation is still up at 3.2%. Mind you, that's on top of, that means prices are still going up on top of what they already went up. Living paycheck to paycheck, 54% of Americans. Average family lost $33,000 in wealth since he became president. Americans draining 401k, 36%. Federal debt, what does that say? Federal debt downgraded. Yeah, that means we're paying more on our federal debt. But, hey, Trump is the problem, right?
Yes, because he keeps pointing out the obvious that Bidenomics is failing. So Trump must be the problem.
Exactly. But that's because we focus on all the wrong things, right? Like, for example, we lost an $80 million fighter jet. Although they're saying $80 million, I thought the replacement cost was so closer to $150 million. But hey, you know what? They know every single $600 payment that goes into your Venmo.
Yeah, they do. Watching you very closely.
Right. Now, getting kind of to the whole, back to the whole, Me Too, reporting people stuff about who's having sex with who. Because, that's what's really news when it comes to politics. It's who's sleeping with who, right? I found it interesting that when the lady who basically admits to having sex with Donald Trump, or says she has sex with Donald Trump, she was offered as so brave, right? But the dude who said he had sex with Barack Obama, they're calling him a liar.
Liar.
Yeah, for those of you who are just
only show
listening,
him
I get it. You're missing out on the on the fun of this particular meme, but it makes total it's a good one, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, we're there at that time of the show. It's about time to go, but before we do, we're going to give one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
That's right. Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Now you can get rifle and pistol caliber barrels in any length you desire for your next rifle or pistol AR build. Hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. Make sure you check out the California 6th Congressional race. And if you want to go to the field, go outdoors, get some tactical gear, you can get everything but the gun. uscombatgear.com.
That's it, folks. Please take a moment, visit our sponsors, links in the description to the program. Let them know that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. And with that, once again, we will call it a day. We will be back tomorrow on a Freaky Friday, Freedback Friday, or just Fun Friday, however you wish to refer to it.
There we go.
We'll be back mañana.